What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Been another good week. Good week. Better week.
Oh yeah, man. Up and up. So,
Yes,
guys,
sir.
you're listening to the Crucible. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to
Yeah,
the show. I am Pauly, and this is
Emil.
Emil.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys. If
Yeah,
you're new to
right.
the show, if you're new to
Yeah,
the
right.
show, welcome, welcome, guys. We have an awesome show lined up for you today, Polly. I don't know if you want to go ahead and
We
get into
do.
that.
I mean, do you know? Do you know what these things are? Right here. You got
These,
one?
hold on. I got something different.
What do you
Got,
got?
I got one of these.
What is that? Silver?
Yeah, man.
Silverback and a goldback.
Yep.
So that's kind of the theme of the show, and we have someone very important from GoldBack going to join us, and we're going to, I guess, maybe pick a brain a little bit. I had one question from I had Jeremy on, the CEO of GoldBack, 3-4 months ago, and I had a follow-up question from that video. Lots of comments, but I pulled one kind of follow-up question from it. We touched on a little bit, so I think the person that left the question didn't watch the whole video, and that's shame on you. You should really watch the whole videos.
Shame.
You've been shamed. You've been shamed. But let's bring him on. He is the COO, Kevan Mills from GoldBack.
Guys,
Hey, how you
Hey,
doing? Thank you
fantastic.
for joining us.
You're very welcome. I'm glad to be here.
all right. Kevin, I've not got to meet anybody from GoldBack yet, but I've always been fascinated by the product. But I actually would really love to hear your take on what problems GoldBack is solving. Like what is that the
Yeah,
whole
that'd be good. That's
concept
great.
behind it?
My personal opinion is I think one of the biggest problems we have right now is none of us have control over interest rates or inflation or how much money is printed by the Federal Reserve. And for me, the entire purpose of the United States was to give power to the people. The the entire premise of the Goldback is to do exactly that, to give people power to take their finances back into their own hands.
Excellent.
Power of the people. I like it.
And you guys are based out of where?
Utah,
Utah. Okay, so that was the first one that came out, right? The Utah GoldBack, correct?
that is correct, in 2019.
And can you touch on a little bit about the rollout of the different states and kind of what that process is and how that works?
Yeah, so it's really based on if you go to soundmoney.com, it shows a list of states that are preferable to the purchase of gold. And so it's states that have beneficial taxes or different things like that that are really conducive to transacting in gold. And so we're planning on going through the first 15 states basically in that order. So Utah, South Dakota, Wyoming, Nevada, New Hampshire, Texas, Florida, Oklahoma. I mean, if you think of any states that are really pro gold or precious metal usage, those are the states that we're rolling out. And so we started in Utah. The second state was Nevada, then New Hampshire, followed by Wyoming and South Dakota. And we haven't made any announcements as far as what we're doing this year, but we have some big surprises that we're hoping to announce sometime around July.
Okay,
Oh, that'd be
excellent.
great. That would be great. July. In 2000, you said 19, right?
That's correct.
Started with Utah. Do you recall what they, I guess, were being, not the word I'm looking for, not refunded for, but what kind of value they had of a one goldback compared to what it is today?
Yeah, it was roughly $2.17 when they came out.
For some reason, I had the number 219 in my head, but yeah, 217 sounds about
Yep,
right. And today, it's got to be pushing 4 plus
$4.50.
Wow,
$4.50.
that's impressive.
That's very impressive. Now, is this something that you carry on your person daily,
Every single day.
every
My own
single day?
personal wallet. Actually, I have my wallet. I didn't even know you guys were going to ask that, but that's
Hey,
my
always
wallet
prepared.
right there.
That's how to represent. That's very good. And have you ever used it to redeem any goods or services?
All the time.
So,
So hardware stores, grocery stores, yeah, all the time.
wow. Is it specific hardware and grocery stores or is it like big chains?
Ace Hardware.
Wow.
So
Okay.
now Ace is a franchise model, so it depends on the local jurisdictions. But anywhere in the country, if somebody went and actually talked to an owner of an ACE and said, hey, could I pay you in gold? They have that right. They can
Sure.
say, yes, we'll take credit cards, but we're not going to take American Express. So can they say, yes, we'll take cash, but we won't take a personal check? And heck yeah, we'll take gold. That's their call. They can do that all day long.
That's a very good point.
That's awesome. So would they, and this is just me going down that rabbit hole, but would they take it at the exchange rate that's agreed upon, that $4 and change?
Correct.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I think I recall Jeremy touching on that. It's just an average exchange rate. So you could get a little more in different areas and maybe a little less in different areas, depending on, I guess, what that number is as far as the average.
Or where you exchange it, because not all of GoldBack's distributors exchange GoldBacks for the same value. So if you went to one distributor and they exchange it at $3.95, and then you can spend it for $4.50, you just made a 20% discount. So if people are smart shoppers and they're going around saying, hey, what are the best pricing on GoldBacks? The price on goldback.com is the price that merchants accept the GoldBack at. So if you're purchasing the GoldBack for less than what it shows on our website, you're saving money when you purchase goods.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. I just had a thought in my head here. Where let's just say you've got $1,000 and now you want to turn that into GoldBacks. A person like me, I'm in Michigan. Really, the only place I have to go is an online bullion dealer, JM Bullion, Hero Bullion, places like that carry the GoldBacks. Where do you go? Are there banks around you, or is there specific GoldBack exchanges in different areas?
So all GoldBacks can be exchanged from bullion dealers. If you go to the GoldBack website, there's actually a featured list of distributors.
Okay.
And it shows all the distributors. Well, it shows the top 15 distributors. One of them is JM Bullion. There's Defy the Grid. There's Alpine Gold. There's APMEX, SD Bullion. There's many different companies that you can exchange the GoldBacks, and they just ship them right to you.
Sure.
And so then you just get them delivered right to your home. They're insured. So you don't want to use a bank. I mean, do you know why you don't want to have GoldBacks in a bank?
Let's hear it.
So have you ever purchased a gold coin?
Not from a bank.
Not from a bank. No, yeah, right.
So you buy a gold coin similar to this little guy right here.
Okay.
The face, that's a $2,000+ coin. So if you bought this from any coin dealer today, you're going to be spending over $2,000 to get it. The face value on that coin is $50.
$50.
So it's minted by the US government. If you took it to a bank and said, I want to exchange this for cash or deposit the cash value into my account, they give you $50.
$50.
So why would you ever buy gold for $2,000 and then deposit it in your bank for $50?
Right.
So
makes
GoldBacks are fairly similar. If you took GoldBacks to a bank, most banks aren't. They're going to say, why would we take that? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, right.
But you as the user, it's power to the people. You don't want to give the banks control of your gold and exchange it for dollar value if you can hold the gold and hedge against inflation.
Right. Yeah, one thing I like about the GoldBack is it doesn't have a US denomination on it. It says one GoldBack, which tells you, I guess, the fraction of an ounce of gold that it would be. So then it therefore becomes more dependent on spot price than anything.
It's rather the weight of the gold. Right?
Exactly.
So it's the one on it. So one GoldBack is 1/1000th of an ounce.
Right.
If you have a 10 GoldBack, that's 10 1/1000ths of an ounce.
Right.
So if you had 10 ones or 110, it's the exact same weight in gold.
Yeah, it's a great model. You were mentioning that you're rolling out first 15 states. What would be the long-term plan past that, getting to state number 16, 17, 18?
Well, I mean, I bet the goal is to have every state,
right?
But you don't have to.
Sure.
Do you remember when they did U.S. quarters?
Yep.
Different state quarters.
Yep.
So you're in Michigan. Did you have to spend the Michigan quarter in Michigan, or could you spend it anywhere?
No, you're right.
It was 25 cents. So
Yep.
it was 25 cents in Michigan. It was 25 cents in Utah. GoldBacks, if we're talking about the weight of the gold, not the state they're created for, a thousandth of an ounce in Utah is still a thousandth of an ounce in Michigan. So if you as a user want to spend GoldBacks, anywhere any business owner is willing to exchange goods and services for gold, it doesn't matter what state it says on it. What matters is the gold in it.
Now, GoldBacks as a company, I believe you guys are to some level involved in maybe lobbying or legislation, correct? Like with state to state, trying to help them move the
Correct.
agenda of bringing gold back as real money, right?
Absolutely.
So
As
can you talk
currency.
a little
Correct.
bit? Correct. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like what your involvement is as a company?
So we have attorneys that the very first legal tender act that was passed in the United States was written and passed by one of our founders and attorney. He's our general counsel, Lawrence Hilton. And he wrote the Legal Tender Act, which was passed into law in Utah in 2011.
Hmm.
And since then, many other states have adopted that. So, for example, quite a few years ago, only 27 of the states did not charge sales tax on gold and silver. Today, 43 states no longer charge sales tax on gold and silver. So we are constantly working with other firms and other companies and other states to present new legislation that's beneficial to the transmission and circulation of a gold currency.
Excellent.
And now with this many states behind you, you have, legs to stand on going further to the next state, to the next state, to the next state, correct?
Correct. We've had senators from other states reach out to our office saying we have many constituents in our state that are saying, hey, we need gold back here. What do we need to do to facilitate gold back in our state? So we have businesses, private individuals, even state legislators reaching out to us saying, hey, there's interest in our state. So, for example, I just had from Ohio. It's the craziest thing. We had a coin store reach out to us from Ohio. We've never done anything in Ohio. We've never done any
Mhm.
marketing. We've never sent people there. But we had a coin store reach out to us and say, we have people coming in all the time asking about GoldBack. How do we sign up as one of GoldBack's distributors?
Oh.
Because it's a demand in our community.
Mm-hmm.
That happens all the time.
That's great. Now, I know that, let's say, especially in the infancy of the company, market penetration was probably a big buzzword. How to get goldbacks, I guess, more customer facing. How to get more people aware of it, and then how to get it into their pockets. What's the long term plan on how to do that?
So the long-term plan, we want to develop point of sale systems so it makes it easier for the consumer when they go into a merchant to actually transact in goldbacks. Now, this is one of the things I said last week when we were in Las Vegas and I was presenting to a whole bunch of different um, people wanting to invest in precious metal. And one of the points that I made is I said, every single financial planner that's worth his salt tells people to diversify.
Mm-hmm.
Diversify, diversify, diversify. One of the things we never, ever, ever diversify is our currency. If you buy stock, it's
Mm,
denominated in what? Dollars. You
right.
buy a
Yep.
house, it's
Yep.
denominated in what? Dollars. So if diversification is the key word for anybody who gives you advice on your money, why aren't we diversifying our currency? And that's what Goldback gives people is the option and ability to diversify their currency.
Mm,
And it's funny, what you just said about comparing it, or calling it into dollars. As a stacker of precious metals myself, I catch myself so many times doing this. I'll be looking to buy something, whether it's something for my house that I might not need. I always compare it to, well, that's a quarter ounce of gold.
right.
That's 10 ounces. That's 10 ounces of silver that I could put away. Do I
Yep.
actually need this, or should I be diversifying my money into the precious metals? And more times than not, I don't buy the item that I thought I might need at that time, and I put it into gold and silver.
I think that's genius. I think that's exactly how more people should act. We wouldn't be in near the situation we are
Yeah.
if more people saw real value in real money.
And that's where, you know, I got a lot of, we were talking beforehand about comments on the last kind of video I sat down with Jeremy, and a lot of people within the stacking community, they want to get on board, but they can't get on board because of the word premium. They see the premium on top of the gold value of a GoldBack, and they say, why would I spend so much more of this to buy just a handful of those, whether or not I'm going to be able to use them or not? I think there's a lot of confusion there, that these are not meant for us to stack away in our safe and hold on to them for safekeeping. I mean, they're meant to be circulated. Is that a correct kind of statement?
I would say yes and no. So
Okay.
absolutely, they're made. The reason they're made is you invest in gold, you buy gold and silver. If you have 1,000 ounce bar of silver or a kilo bar of gold, it's worth $60,000 today. How do you ever spend it?
Right. Right.
Like, yeah, you've got it in your safe in your basement, but now you need a dozen eggs. What do you do with it? You go down with a file and shave off a little
Yeah.
piece of it.
Yeah.
So goldbacks were manufactured specifically to give people the option to be able to transact in precious metal.
To not
Now,
just hoard it, to actually use it.
correct. But if people are saving it, so people have savings, you have a savings account, everyone has a
Sure.
savings account. Now, I'm not going to take a political side on this, but do you believe that the consumer price index and the number for inflation is accurate? When they come out and say inflation was 4.1% last year, do you look at that and say, yeah, that's an accurate number? Or do you say, I bought a Subway sandwich last year for
Yeah, right.
$7 and it's $15 this
Yeah.
year? Is inflation really 4%?
I don't understand why they keep using numbers like that when that's not the truth. It's just not. And again, I'm not going to take a political side either, but they have to do something to, the general public isn't stupid, at least
Yeah.
anymore. At
But
least
you have a
anymore.
savings account. If you have, so let's say that inflation, we believe inflation is closer to 10%. And I think that's low. If you have $10,000 in the bank today in your savings account and you lose 10% inflation, that means you can only buy $9,000 worth of goods after 1 year. You can buy less than $8,000 worth of goods in 2 years.
Mhm.
So one of the main reasons to hold goldbacks or silver or gold is to hedge against inflation. So when people say, well, I don't want to stack goldbacks because, there's a premium, it's still gold and the value's still going up and you're still hedging against inflation.
Right.
So can you purchase and stack and save gold? Absolutely, and you should. And especially if it's in a more usable form. And I think this is one, we can go into this if you want to, but the premium is something that we can talk about and we should talk about.
Yes, for sure.
Because
For sure. I was going to touch on really quick about what you just said about the goldback in your stack and using it. It makes complete sense if someone was to rewind and just think about what we just talked about as far as the inflation rate and actually being able to use the goldback, and then the savings account. You're watching your savings account slowly, the number stays the same, but your buying power definitely changes. And with the goldback in 2019, if you were in on the goldback in 2019, you have just, when's the last time we were around and gold has doubled its spending value, I guess, if you want to call it? If you bought goldbacks in 2019, you have doubled. If you're on them, you have doubled that amount what you paid.
correct.
That's phenomenal when you're talking about precious metals, something that is a long-term hold. You just don't see that, and it's not talked about at all.
And I think there's in the precious metals community, there's a misunderstanding because when people look at a premium, they see that as a loss. If you went to a coin store today and you bought a gold coin, it's going to cost you $2,100.
Yes.
But you go back to the same coin store tomorrow and try to sell it, they're going to buy it back from you for 2,000 so they can resell it for 2,100 and make a profit. And
And that
that buy
happens a
sell
lot.
spread.
I see that a lot in the precious metal stacking community, that people do, they put too much into it to where they have to instantly sell it. And again, that you don't want to be stacking metals to sell it to pay your bills, because you've just made a terrible, terrible mistake.
Right. And so for me, if you look at it this way, if you buy $2,000 worth of GoldBacks today and you turn around and spend them tomorrow, you can spend them for over $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
They don't lose their value just because you spend them. The premium, it's not really a premium on GoldBacks, it's a utility value. You have more utility in the GoldBack in that form than you do as a little speck of gold. And there's an economic principle that labor adds value. You can't say GoldBacks are only worth their melt value in the form of a GoldBack. Now, if you took all of your GoldBacks and you melted them, so you just had a pile of gold, yeah, you just lost 50% of the value
Sure.
of your GoldBacks. So
Sure.
don't melt them,
Yeah,
spend them.
right. Right.
Stack them, save them in your vault and spend them. The only time you ever lose that premium is if you melt them. And that doesn't make sense.
No. And a question that I did want to touch on from that previous video is, and we did touch on this, but if you know, please explain it to us a little bit more. This says it's one thousandth of a ounce of a gold, right? So
Correct.
who guarantees that? Are these, I know every one of them has a specific serial number. The counterfeit measures in these things is outstanding and rarely talked about. It's not just a piece of art that I mean, there's actually anti-counterfeiting things in there to make them safe. But the question was, well, who's actually backing that this is actually one thousandth of a troy ounce of gold?
So we do as a company, we guarantee that amount of gold, and the manufacturer also guarantees it. And one thing that's really interesting that most people don't know, but it's out in the public now, because we never released this publicly, there was a third party
Yes.
guy out there who doesn't believe in, he doesn't trust government and doesn't trust corporations. So he's like, hey, if I'm going to talk about goldbacks, I want to make sure they're real gold. So on his own, he ordered a bunch of goldbacks from us, ordered a kiln, melted down the goldbacks and did his own assay tests, and then released all the results to his test online.
Yes.
And what he found was every single goldback he tested had on average 5% more gold in it than what we said.
On the heavy side.
And we do that on purpose. When we manufacture them, because goldbacks are a currency, if anyone anywhere ever tested a goldback and it came back as less gold than what we said, it would completely destroy the credibility of the entire currency.
Sure.
And so when we make them, we put 5% extra gold in every goldback. So it is guaranteed to have the amount of gold in it that we say it does if it's ever melted. And most people don't realize that. So yes, we guarantee it, and it's been verified by people that aren't us, third-party people that have no affiliation with us.
That's outstanding. And it was talked about before that, well, how can they not be counterfeited? Well, what if somebody just wanted to make their own? And Jeremy talked about, he said, with the amount of money we have into making these things, someone would be better off just making their own style of goldback rather than trying to counterfeit our goldback and adding no gold to it whatsoever. They would be further ahead to do good rather than try and cheat the system.
Yeah. Well, one of the things you have to think about is what is the hardest thing to counterfeit? So if people are counterfeiting $100 bills, what's the hardest thing for them to counterfeit?
If they're counterfeiting $100 bills, the hardest thing to counterfeit, I guess we're going to be touching on precious metals here, is metals. It takes a lot of work to try and counterfeit metals, right?
It's the paper. So in dollars, it's the paper.
The paper.
So what do? They get $1 bills they wash off all the ink, and they print $100 bill on the same paper, because it's really, really hard to counterfeit the paper that the dollar bills are minted on. So what is the medium that goldbacks are made out of?
Well,
Gold,
yeah, gold.
right? So if
Gold.
somebody wanted to counterfeit a goldback, they have to use real gold to counterfeit it.
You would have
So even
to,
if
right?
somebody made a fake goldback, great, go make a fake goldback. Guess what? It still has 1/1000th of an ounce of gold in it.
It's right. It still has the gold in it, and it would have to even pass off as anything, because these are, number one. I mean, these are beautiful designs, by the way. I'm sure you guys hear that all the time, all the time.
Yes, we do.
I don't remember the name of the artist or artists, but it's a piece of work. And then to have the negative as the reverse side is crazy. It's crazy how much actually goes into to make something come out like this every single time.
And it's real gold. So anybody that's using it or stacking it or spending it, what would you rather have? Would you rather have something that loses? The dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power.
Right.
98%. Gold has done
Crazy to
what?
even That's crazy to think about that. Gold has been nothing but good, been going up slowly like it should. We're knocking on the door of $2,200 again.
Yeah. Here's something that's really interesting. This is one that twists people's noodle all the time. If you had $1 million in cash in 1972, to
Okay.
buy the same amount of goods today, you'd have to have $7.1 million.
Wow.
So from 1972 to today, that's the difference in dollars. If you
Wow.
had $1 million in gold in 1972, that gold would be worth $7.1 million today. Gold is a fantastic hedge against inflation. So
Yes.
anybody that's buying gold is hedging against inflation. You can literally, you, the people, can opt out of inflation. If you're subjecting yourself to inflation, that is a choice. You can choose to not subject yourself to it by buying gold.
You did. That's one that twists the noodle. Emil, did you catch that as you were coming back in?
I missed it.
In 1972, if you had $1 million cash, right?
Mhm.
Actually, you said it the best. Go ahead.
So if you
a,
had $1 million in cash in 1972, you
yep,
would have to have $7.1 million
that's what it
today
was.
to buy the same amount of goods.
That's insane.
If you had $1 million in gold in 1972, that gold would be worth $7.1 million today. So you're hedging against inflation.
Yes,
So gold is a
100%.
fantastic hedge. And if you're buying a gold bar, if you're buying gold coins, if you're buying gold kilos, I don't care. Yes, I'm biased. I am one of the partners in GoldBack. I'm an executive of the company. I'm the chief operating officer. So 100% I'm biased. Do I want you to buy goldbacks? Absolutely. But I don't care what type of gold you get. You're hedging against inflation. You are taking back your own power if you invest in gold. And
I
that's the
agree.
bottom line. Goldbacks just give you the option to be able to spend it if you need to.
Yeah.
To be able to spend it if you need to.
Now I watched this video on the durability, and this goes to speak about the different, I guess, the qualities of money, of real money, right? That it has to be
Uh-huh.
divisible, whatever, durable. But speaking of durability, I saw a video where people were trying to rip this thing apart. And I'm not going to do it to this one, but I mean, they had big guys, big muscles and everything trying to tear this thing in half. And it can't. It is so durable. You guys did something really great with whatever plastic you're using to coat this. I'm not sure, but fantastic job
Yes.
on that.
But we had to do that to, one, protect the gold, and two, to make sure that people could carry it in their wallets and have it be something that lasted through time. If I died in the middle of the Sahara Desert today, in 1,000 years, my cash would be gone, my wallet would be gone, my credit cards would be gone, the goldbacks would still be sitting there. All the gold that's in them would still be sitting there, and it would still be gold.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of Goldback, on the opposite side of that, we do have the Silverbacks. And this one was done in partnership with a fellow YouTuber, fellow content creator, Silver Dragons.
Silver
Have you
Dragons.
guys made any other silver based goldbacks?
Yes, we have. I can't discuss what they are right now because we have
Got
an
it.
agreement with other companies, but you will see them coming out. But the silverbacks aren't meant to be currency. The
Okay.
silverbacks are literally manufactured to be a collectible. And really, it's proof of concept. There's a lot
Hmm.
of people out there that believe the price of silver is going to really drastically increase in the future. And if it does, then we're going to have the same problem with silver dimes and silver quarters that we have with gold coins. They'll be too expensive to spend.
Right.
So we got the trademark and we wanted people to know, hey, we have the technology, we have the ability, we have proven the concept. If silver does skyrocket, we can do the same thing with silver we do with gold and make a silverback.
Hmm.
But we don't need to.
Is there something in these, or is this protected, or should this eventually over time tarnish such as silver does?
So the way we manufacture the silverbacks, there's a technology that helps them not to tarnish.
Okay.
And so they shouldn't tarnish. But again, that's part of the proof of concept. And so is it possible they may get a little bit darker? Maybe, but it's not going to be anywhere near that happens with a silver coin.
Okay.
Now, regarding the goldbacks, I know that as the denomination gets larger, the bill itself gets larger. Correct.
Correct.
So, what is the largest denomination currently? Oh, look, I froze again.
A 50.
50. Is there any talk or anything about going bigger than a 50?
No, and the reason why is if the US government prints a 1 ounce or mints a 1 ounce coin, a half-ounce coin, a quarter-ounce coin, and a 10th-ounce coin,
Mm-hmm.
the 50 goldback is a 20th of an ounce. So really where we started was where the US government stopped, and we go smaller from there. Because we don't need to make a 100 goldback would be a 10th of an ounce, which
Right.
there's already a 10th of an ounce
There's already a
coin.
10th of an ounce.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Okay. That's fantastic.
That's all good stuff.
So I'm not going to say we would never do that, but there's just not as much of a drive to do it because really goldbacks were made to circulate as currency.
Right.
And the 10th of an ounce is already too expensive to really spend.
Sure.
So maybe you can and maybe you can't talk about this, but since coming on to the Goldback company, have you experienced any problems that you've been tasked with solving?
Well, not with goldback itself, but many issues. So just as an example, the first year that we manufactured goldbacks in 2019, we sold $337,000 worth of goldbacks.
All right.
Last
Whoa.
year in 2023, we sold $34 million in goldbacks.
We.
So
A lot
the
of
biggest
goldbacks.
problem is there is such a huge demand. How do we keep up with the demand? How do we not outpace our manufacturing capabilities? That's really been the number one issue because the demand has just been crazy. We do very, very little marketing. Like
Mhm.
people all the time say, hey, I've never heard of these. Yeah, we don't market them on purpose because if we were on any large news network, we would sell out immediately and be backordered
yeah.
for 6 months
Didn't even
because
think
the
about that.
demand is just too high. People hear about them and they want them. It's,
Right.
hey, we have to have this. And it's that diversification conversation. I
Mhm.
don't want all of my metal in gold coins because there's going to come a point where what am I going to do? Spend $2,100 for a gallon of milk? Like you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
have something you can spend.
So the opportunist in me wants to know if you guys are publicly traded. When you say stuff like that,
We are not publicly traded. So we're a privately held company. And right now, in the foreseeable future, we don't have any intention of going public. I'm not going to say that it's impossible, but the whole purpose of the goldback is to maintain a stable currency.
right.
And so we would never sell. I mean, it would be very, I can say this definitively. We wouldn't sell to a private individual or business because we don't want someone else that says, hey, we see where we could be selling GoldBacks for $20 or $50.
Sure.
That very first year, Pauly, we sold out. Like I said, we sold
Yeah.
$337,000 in GoldBacks. Every distributor everywhere in the world was sold out of GoldBacks. The only place you could get a GoldBack was on the secondary market. People were buying GoldBacks for $2.17 and then reselling them on eBay for $50.
Yes. Yes. That's
And people were
facts.
buying them. People
Yes.
were buying them. It
People
wasn't
were
just
buying them.
listing them, they were buying them at 50.
Yes.
So if the company sold and someone said, hey, we have a great opportunity to just make a crap
Killing.
load of money,
Yeah.
and they start
Kill it.
selling GoldBacks
Yeah.
for $50, people would buy them.
They
But
would.
it no longer functions as a currency at that rate.
Right.
And so everything we're doing is to say, hey, could we sell it for more? People complain about the premium all the time. I could sell GoldBacks for $50 and people would buy them. But that's not what we're about. We're keeping a fair premium, a fair utility value, so people can use it as currency.
That's great to hear.
Here's a good question for you, Paulie. Do you know how
Yes.
much it costs the US government to make a $100 bill?
Well, I know it makes them more than a penny to make a penny, but as far as $100 bill, no. What is it?
8 cents.
Costs them 8 cents to make $100 bill.
So what's the premium on a $100 bill?
Yeah, it's a lot of. That's 92
So
cents.
all the people that complain about, hey, there's a premium on GoldBacks every single day, they're using a currency that has a premium that is extremely high, and they don't complain about that at all. So why complain about the utility value in a GoldBack when they're spending dollars that cost 8 cents to make? Oh, and guess what? We printed the dollars that we used to pay the 8 cents.
Yes.
So what's the real value of a dollar?
Yeah, it's
Zero.
it,
It's nothing.
that was a good one. That was
Yeah.
that was something I've never really even looked into or even thought about looking into whatsoever.
Kevan, this has been an awesome time having you on the show. And, I know we went over on time a little bit, but I feel like we could probably go on another 2 to 3 hours.
Probably could.
Yeah, it'd be great to have you back sometime.
It would definitely be great to have you back sometime, even if you're kicking around. You were talking about something going on in July. Maybe we stay in touch and figure something out to continue the conversations.
To be part of the announcement when we release the next states.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
That would be ideal. Yes, that would be great.
Yeah, we would love to. And I really appreciate you inviting us back. We always enjoy it. Jeremy enjoyed the conversation the last time he was on.
Yes.
And that's why he asked me to come in. Obviously, you can see between Jeremy and I, we have a little bit different personality, but
Yes, I tell you what, the tone of the voice, you guys sound similar. You sound very similar, and maybe it's just, I guess, the accent or something from Utah. And I get a lot that people ask me if I'm from Canada because of the way some of the words come out. But
what are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Well, I am pretty close to Canada, but not. No, I'm U.S. citizen, and we're here. But that would be great. I had a great conversation with him. Emil and I enjoyed this conversation with you, and we look forward to more conversations, hopefully in the future. That would be a great thing.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
All right. You have a good night. All right.
You as well.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, buddy.
Yeah,
I see you are frozen solid, but
So
that's
frozen.
okay. So frozen. Listen, let's just go to this screen then as we close out of here. Look, folks, in the description of this video is going to be all the information you need for that 5-ounce silver round bar wood pour giveaway coming from Husky and myself. Look at the description, get in on that. There's going to be 3 different ways to join. That's going to give you 3 entries to get in on that giveaway. We're getting closer and closer every single day. Husky, would you like to add anything?
We'll catch you guys on the next episode of The Crucible.
All right. Good night, brother.